From Super League to Olympic distance to age group world records to Kona. Go longer with the right fuel at the right time with SFuels.
And oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. And oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. And breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, welcome to our 11th year of Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Huggos on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, HOKA Let's Fly, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Quintanaroo, Zoot, the original triathlon brand. Of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation. Our next guest was 10th here the last time we were in Kona, was 4th at Ironman St. George World Championship. Mr. Chris Leiferman joins us. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Bob.
Is your son having a good time here, swimming with turtles and doing all the cool stuff?
We found out that he doesn't like the waves.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Something about the waves really turns him off. But yeah, he's enjoying the sun and the beach and everything else that's involved with Hawaii.
So this has to bring back good memories. Getting 10th here back in 2019 was really an important race in your career.
Yeah, it was. And getting off the plane when we first arrived, it definitely put me in a good mood and definitely in a good headspace. So it was a very good experience here in 19, so looking forward to improve on that.
Well, and then you come to the next Ironman World Championship in St. George, and we're talking 52-minute swim, 4:18 bike, 2:44 marathon. You sort of win a lot of races with those type of times.
Yeah, that was really good in St. George. The buildup has been good since then. No injuries. Got sick, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And you look at the times that I had in Kona in 19 and the times I had in St. George, and if I can repeat that, that's a solid result here.
But what's pretty funny about that? Basically, you went faster in St. George on what a lot of people would say with 7,000 feet of climbing on a bike. It's a lot harder course.
Yeah, I biked a 4:24 and ran a 2:52 in 19, and I think both of those numbers can be improved. I know the game has been stepped up since then,
right?
And the talent in the field is definitely deeper, but I'm prepared.
Well, and back in 19, if somebody went sub 8 hours, that was huge. Now it's almost like you expect it. We're with 3 years of people getting ready for this race. We could see some major damage to those times.
Yeah, there's going to be some major damage, and there's going to be some people, because those times are going to be hotter, there's going to be a lot of people in the front chasing each other and pushing each other, and yes, not all of them are going to stay in pace. Yeah. So,
carnage.
There will be some carnage, but at the end of the day, I'm also good chance that I could be one of those people really pushing to the end, because in order to win, you have to push to the end.
You have to push to the end. I mean, back in the day, there was a lot of people sitting back their X amount of meters and waiting for the run.
Yep.
I don't see that happening here.
No, it's going to be a push, and I don't think the wind is going to give us any forgiveness.
No.
Either. So it's going to be tough for everyone.
So when you look back at getting into the sport, how old were you when you got into this?
I was 21. Yeah.
What got you into it?
My brother pulled a bike out of the dumpster and built it up, signed me up for a triathlon, and told me to start swimming.
He found a bike, and you're 21 years old, and your brother's like, Chris needs something in his life. I'll take this bike out of the dumpster, and we'll get him into triathlon.
Well, he was obsessed with cycling, so he wanted other people to be obsessed with him.
Okay.
So
it wasn't like he looked at you and said, Chris needs some help. Yeah. None of that stuff.
No.
It was just he wanted someone to ride with.
Exactly. Yeah. He wanted to fulfill his addiction. So, yeah, the rest is history.
And so how long was it before you started dropping him on the bike?
Actually, it was pretty quickly. I don't
surprised.
know. I think it's just that brother rivalry.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's something that I miss now. Right now, when we go out and train, it's so specific to the numbers, or we're just ridiculously tired as we go out for a training session that we don't have the ability to play.
Right.
And that's what I really miss riding with Adam, is that aspect of play on the bike.
Yeah, like sprinting for city limit signs.
Yes,
and that
exactly.
Type of stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we didn't have many hills in Minnesota, but we'd have overpasses or a little walk bridge, and sprinting up those little bridges where that was our game. That was what we enjoyed doing, and just burying each other. And this year has been kind of an eye opener for me, and that me and my buddy Kenneth, we kind of go out there and play on the bikes, and it's been really fun to kind of get that fun back into our life and in our sport.
Well, and also that high intensity with a lot of the ITU athletes coming over to the sport, to the longer distance sport, it changes the game. There's a lot more criterium style of people getting out of the saddle and sprinting to get away from people.
It's gotten speedy.
Yeah,
it's just
totally speedy.
Ridiculous. Yep.
So in St. George, I think you were off the bike in like 10th place, something like that, and you ran your way up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you feel comfortable off the bike that, okay, because you could go one or two ways. You can move that way or go the other way, right?
I mean, I didn't. Do you ever feel comfortable?
No.
I felt okay. And it took a while to loosen up, and I didn't actually feel fantastic, and I can really tell as soon as I get off the bike on that dismount line, I can tell within those first steps.
You know
how good I'm going to feel or how badly I'm going to feel. At St. George, it wasn't really great, and it took a few miles to finally warm up and get into my rhythm.
Well, and you end up being first American there, right? In St. George?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Now, looking at what's happening in the American in terms of, Jason West, and we've got so many guys, not Jason here, but the way that guy's running at 70.3, and there's so many good Americans coming in, Colin. So talk a little bit about just how much deeper the American side of this has become.
Yeah, it definitely has shown some deep in those young guys, and in shorter course, they just run really, really fast. I feel in Ironman kind of brings me up to speed, and it's just that more war of attrition, and that's more where I excel. I'm 36 now, so I'm not exactly speedy. That raw power or that raw speed, I think, is lacking for me. But when it comes to the longer distance, that's definitely where I can excel.
So you turned pro back in 2013, right? And 27 years old. This sport has changed significantly in this last decade,
yeah,
right?
It has.
Has the biggest thing been the bike? Just how fast everybody's riding?
I think it's, I don't know. It's all gotten faster. Across the board. I feel I've adapted to the changes in the bike.
Right.
I don't know. I feel I've adapted in the run too.
Obviously, fourth the world.
You kind of have to. It didn't happen overnight. It, like you said, it was in 2013, and how it's all changed. So it's across the board, I think, is where it's.
So you did U.S. Open.
Yep.
And 13th there.
Yep.
Hot.
Yeah.
So brutal.
Super hot. I think that might have been the deepest competitive field I've ever raced.
No question.
The PTO has definitely stepped up their game, and it's bringing in all the pro athletes. And it's 13th place. It's, I don't know, 13th kind of sucks. But if you list the people who are top 12, if you list
there's not many people you haven't heard of.
Right. And if you take away the top 12 and look at the people who are behind me, and you'd still be like, holy crap, that's a good result.
Exactly.
So it's just amazing how deep a field it was. And it was the 100K distance, so it was a short distance. And a lot of these ITU guys that are coming in really excel at that. But hey, I was in the middle of an Ironman block. It was 3 weeks before Kona. I went there, had a good result, or I had a good performance, made some money, and now I'm here.
Well, the nice thing about that, you were 13th. What'd you win?
12K.
12K?
Yeah.
How many races have you won where you didn't get 12K?
Oh, almost all of them.
Right? So
I mean, St. George.
Yes.
Fourth place was better, but no, even 70.3 wins, Ironman wins don't even bring that type of money, and I got 13th. So it's absolutely amazing what's that done for our sport.
It's a game changer.
Yep.
And what I love about it, if you're 12K and you're in 13th, if you moved up to 10th, you're like 18 or 20.
Yeah, it's 20, I think.
Yeah. So it's like there's a reason to move up one place. There's no reason to be like, oh, you know what? I'm good here.
Right.
You're like,
there's no being content. Like,
no.
You're going to push all the way to the end. And unfortunately, Jason West got the better of me when he did have the race best run split. But as we were going towards that finish chute, I was giving it my all. And unfortunately, he looks over his shoulder and saw me, and then he had another gear himself.
Oh, yeah.
But,
he's got a few gears.
Yeah, no, you're pushing to the end. You're looking for every dollar sign.
Top 20th place is 5K.
Yep.
So how does that change things as a professional athlete as you're looking towards next year with the Collins Cup? You get guaranteed dollars for being there. Then you got U.S. Open, Canadian Open, and I think one other next year.
Yeah, I think they're going to have one in Asia. And then then in 2024 have a 200K distance. And
so almost a iron distance type of event.
Correct. Yep. So it definitely makes your career worthwhile. Before, if you're just doing 70.3s, you can't pay the bills.
Right. If you finish 5th, you're basically going home with nothing.
Right. So now with PTO, we're able to be professional athletes and focus on being a professional athlete. And with that also means that everyone else can too. So now the
fields are deeper.
The fields are going to be deeper. People are going to be able to train more, train smarter, recover better, and still be able to pay the bills. So the speeds are going to get higher, and times are going to get lower.
Which is good for everybody.
It is.
Right?
It's good for camera, and it also makes me a better athlete too. Like I can't just sit back and let those guys do it also. I got to up my game as well.
I love it.
Yep.
And what are your goals for next Saturday?
Well, I got 4th at St. George, so I got to do better than that.
So podium.
Yep.
Like to do podium.
Yeah.
Can you win this race?
I think I can. In my mind, I've actually been thinking this week. It's been really cool being on the island, and it's going to be tough. I think some people are going to have to make mistakes,
right?
And I'm going to have to not make a mistake and just execute as perfectly as possible. And I do think that's possible.
After being in Texas, this probably doesn't feel that hot.
No, it doesn't. I've actually been looking at the thermometer and looking at the weather apps, and I'm like, God, is it comparing to 2019? I'm like, is this cooler? Is it the same? Like, it doesn't feel as bad, but maybe I just my perception of it isn't as bad as Dallas.
Dallas in freaking September is hot.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The water was warm. The bike was warm. The sun was oppressive, or the run was
There's
oppressive.
No shade.
Yeah. No.
None whatsoever.
It was rough.
Chris, great to have you back here in the island.
Thanks, Bob.
Love seeing you. The best thing is having the little one. He'll get used to the waves. He'll
get used to it. Yeah, he'll be surfing.
He'll
in
find
no
a
time.
honu. He'll find a turtle, and all of a sudden he'll be lit up.
Yep, he will.
I love it. Chris Leiferman has been our guest. Everybody, Poncho Man, take us out.
No, yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone, and it's breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man, thanks everybody.